Picture entering a room filled with individuals, each adorned with a mask. Some display smiles, others wear frowns, yet none reveal their authentic selves. Now, envision stepping into this environment without your own mask, without deceit, without pretense, and without the inclination or desire to manipulate those around you. How long do you think you would endure? How swiftly would you be deemed naive, foolish, or even weak? This is the tragic destiny of Prince Mishkin, the central character in The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. He embodies pure-heartedness, steadfast honesty, and immense compassion. Yet instead of being celebrated for these traits, he faces ridicule, manipulation, and ultimately destruction by a society that fails to grasp his goodness. However, this narrative is not merely a tale from 19th century Russia. It serves as a poignant reflection of a painful reality about human nature that remains pertinent today. Why do virtuous individuals frequently find themselves at a disadvantage in life? Why does authenticity often attract scorn instead of admiration? And most crucially, if being good results in suffering, is it still worthwhile? By the conclusion of this discussion, you will gain a fresh perspective on kindness, morality, and the hidden perils of being excessively good in a world that favors cunning. The final revelation we will delve into is the most astonishing of all, and it will transform your view not only of the world, but also of yourself. To grasp why goodness is frequently mistaken for foolishness, we must first examine what society genuinely values. We like to believe that we cherish honesty, kindness, and integrity, but do we truly? Or do we merely tolerate these traits as long as they don't conflict with our own desires? Historically, those who ascend to power are seldom the purely virtuous. Rather, they are the ones adept at navigating the intricate web of human relationships, who know when to be ruthless and when to charm, who skillfully conceal their true motives behind a carefully crafted facade. Niccolo Machiavelli, in The Prince, contended that a ruler must be prepared to act immorally if needed. For the world does not reward goodness, it rewards outcomes. This is what makes Mishkin's fate so heartbreaking. He either fails to comprehend or outright rejects the harsh realities of the world around him. He lacks the ability to manipulate or deceive, nor does he wish to, and as a result, he is perceived as a fool, not due to a lack of intelligence, but because his goodness renders him vulnerable in a society that thrives on competition and self-interest. Reflect on how this resonates in our own lives. How often do we witness genuinely kind, honest individuals being exploited? How frequently do we hear tales of good-hearted souls betrayed by those they hold dear? How often have we felt naive for hoping the best in others, only to face disappointment? This isn't to suggest that the world is entirely corrupt, but it's clear that a certain degree of shrewdness is often essential for survival. Even those who see themselves as good people may need to compromise their principles to safeguard themselves. Yet, in spite of this, we still yearn for individuals like Mishkin, those who are genuinely unwavering in their goodness. What makes this even more intriguing is that Dostoevsky does not portray Mishkin as merely a martyr. He doesn't just endure suffering, he also provokes those around him in ways they struggle to comprehend. His goodness, rather than being passive, serves as a reflection, compelling others to face their own shortcomings. This is what creates discomfort in their presence. He does not pass judgment, yet his mere existence reveals their hypocrisy. His authenticity brings their deceit to light, and his compassion makes their selfishness starkly apparent. Consequently, instead of being welcomed, he is often shunned. This leads us to a chilling inquiry: is Mishkin the true fool, or has the world around him spiraled into madness? As we delve deeper into this unsettling paradox, we will confront the grim reality of what it means to embody goodness in a realm that seems to scorn it. Ultimately, we will unearth a harrowing truth about kindness, one that may forever alter your perception of existence. The tragedy of Mishkin's tale lies not only in the torment he faces, but also in the distorted lens through which others view him. He does not see himself as a fool. He clings to love, honesty, and the inherent goodness of humanity. Yet, with each attempt to illuminate the shadows of others' lives, he is met with suspicion, regarded as an intruder in their darkened world. But why? Why does genuine goodness evoke such unease? To unravel this mystery, we must scrutinize the intricate web of human interactions. Relationships, whether intimate or societal, are precariously balanced on a knife's edge of power dynamics. Even in the most mundane exchanges, a silent negotiation brews beneath the surface. People weigh their words, choose their actions with cunning precision, and mold their behavior based on anticipated returns. It is a realm of subtle deceit, where even acts of kindness are often laced with the expectation of something in return. Yet, Mishkin refuses to engage in this sinister game. He gives selflessly, never seeking anything in return. His words flow with raw honesty, unfiltered by concern for how they might be perceived. He forgives without harboring bitterness, even when faced with betrayal time and again. In a world where everyone hides behind facades, he remains utterly vulnerable. And this very openness is what breeds distrust among others. Psychologists have long explored the notion of cognitive dissonance, that unsettling tension that arises when we encounter truths that clash with our self-image. When Mishkin engages with those around him, he compels them to confront their own moral failings. They may profess to cherish kindness, yet when confronted with genuine, unconditional goodness, they feel laid bare. It forces them to acknowledge how far they have strayed from their own principles, and rather than grappling with this painful realization, they turn away from the one who holds up the mirror, reflect on our reactions to those who embody extraordinary goodness. We admire the stories of selfless souls who devote their lives to aiding others, yet there's often an unsettling discomfort that lingers. We convince ourselves that they are somehow different, that their level of altruism is unattainable, even impractical. We might even seek out imperfections in them, hunting for signs that they are not as virtuous as they appear. Because to accept their goodness would mean confronting our own choices, our own compromises, and the moral justifications we cling to. It's a heavy burden to bear, and so we look away. This is precisely the fate that befalls Mishkin. He transforms into a haunting emblem of the unattainable, an ideal that captivates admiration in theory, yet is shunned in practice. His mere existence sends ripples through the fabric of society, not through overt force, but by simply being. Dostoevsky employs Mishkin to delve into a darker truth about human nature. We do not genuinely desire perfect goodness in our lives. We may believe we do, but when confronted with it, we find it overwhelming, even stifling. Goodness, untainted by calculation, devoid of boundaries, and stripped of the familiar human flaws, is a force that most cannot comprehend. Consequently, rather than uplifting the virtuous, society often casts them into isolation. But does this imply that goodness is futile? That striving to be good is a folly? Herein lies the unsettling complexity. Despite the torment he faces, Mishkin harbors no regrets about his kindness. He does not succumb to bitterness. He refuses to alter his essence. In this, Dostoevsky reveals a chilling insight. The worth of goodness is not determined by how it is perceived by others, but by its intrinsic nature. In other words, true goodness exists independently of validation. It does not seek admiration or reward. It persists not because the world acknowledges it, but because it is the only way to exist. Yet, this leads to a final disquieting question that haunts our discourse. If goodness is so pure, so potent, why does it so frequently culminate in suffering? Why do the most virtuous souls seem to endure the darkest trials? As we delve deeper, we will unveil the final, most chilling truth about the essence of goodness in a world that scorns it. By the end, you may find yourself questioning everything you once held dear. If goodness holds any true worth, why does it appear to summon suffering like a moth to a flame? Why do the most honest, selfless, and compassionate individuals often find themselves ensnared in the cruelest betrayals, heart-wrenching disappointments, and relentless hardships? This haunting question lies at the heart of The Idiot. Prince Mishkin strives with every fiber of his being to infuse the world with kindness and understanding, yet instead of reaping rewards, he is met with ridicule, misunderstanding, and ultimately his own destruction. Dostoevsky does not merely present this as a senseless tragedy. He compels us to peer into the abyss of suffering itself. There exists an inescapable link between goodness and suffering, a theme that has echoed through literature, philosophy, psychology, and religious thought across the ages. Many of history's most venerated figures, spiritual leaders, social reformers, and profound thinkers, have faced unimaginable torment. Jesus, Socrates, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr. each dedicated their lives to the ideals of justice, truth, and compassion, only to be met with fierce opposition, persecution, and, in many instances, violent ends. But why? Why does the world seem to recoil from goodness rather than embrace it? One possible explanation is that genuine goodness is inherently disruptive. It questions the existing order. It compels individuals to face their own moral inconsistencies, and most people, consciously or unconsciously, prefer not to confront these contradictions. They wish to maintain their usual way of life without having to scrutinize their own selfishness, compromises, or their tendency to prioritize personal interests over moral principles. When Mishkin enters the realm of Russian high society, he does not conform to its dynamics. The individuals around him navigate a landscape filled with hidden agendas, strategic alliances, and ongoing struggles for power and prestige. Mishkin refrains from engaging in any of this, which makes him an anomaly, something that defies explanation or categorization. And what typically happens to anomalies? They are either assimilated into the system, compelled to conform, or they are expelled. Mishkin, who is unwilling to change, is ultimately cast aside. This leads us to an important question. If suffering is often the destiny of virtuous individuals, what is the purpose of being good? Is it truly worthwhile? Du's response to this question, he does not provide a simple answer, nor does he imply that goodness will ultimately be rewarded in any tangible way. Rather, he introduces a concept that is both disconcerting and deeply freeing. The worth of goodness is not dictated by how the world responds to it. In essence, goodness is not about the results it produces. It is not about receiving praise, love, or even comprehension. It is not tied to success, acknowledgement, or external rewards. Goodness, in its truest form, exists for its own sake. It holds value simply because it is good. This notion is profoundly challenging as it contradicts everything we have been taught to believe. We are conditioned to seek approval, to evaluate our actions based on their outcomes, and to anticipate fairness and justice in return for our efforts. However, genuine goodness does not function on those principles. It is not a transaction. It does not inquire, what will I gain in return? It simply exists. Yet, there is a paradox here. If goodness exists solely for its own sake, independent of any rewards, does it possess any real power? If it does not alter the surrounding world, if it does not lead to success or influence, what then is its purpose? This is the final and most challenging question we must consider. For while Mishkin endures suffering, he also leaves a significant impact on those he encounters. Even those who dismiss him cannot forget him. Even those who ridicule him are, in some way, transformed by their interactions with him. This implies that although goodness may not always prevail in a conventional manner, it possesses a strength that is deeper, more nuanced, and more enduring than we might first perceive. But what is this strength, and how does it influence the world in ways that are not immediately apparent? In the concluding segment of our discussion, we will reveal the fundamental truth about goodness, one that will challenge everything we have examined thus far, and provide us with insights that could fundamentally alter our understanding of human nature. If goodness is not defined by its rewards, then what is its genuine strength? If society dismisses, mocks, and even annihilates those who are truly good, then what accounts for the persistence of goodness? Why do individuals like Mishkin, who appear so out of sync in a world fueled by ambition and self-interest, continue to exist? The answer resides in something that is not easily observable or measurable. It exists in the quiet, often overlooked ways in which authentic goodness impacts those who encounter it. In The Idiot, Mishkin does not aim to alter others. He refrains from preaching, does not try to reform society, and does not impose his beliefs on those around him. Nevertheless, he leaves an impression on everyone he encounters. Even those who cause him pain cannot escape the impact of his presence. His genuine nature, compassion, and steadfast faith in the goodness of humanity serve as a mirror, reflecting the most profound and concealed aspects of individuals. This is the hidden strength of authentic goodness. It unveils the truth. It neither coerces nor demands. It simply exists. By its mere existence, it compels those nearby to face their own essence. Some choose to embrace it, while others, unable to confront what they see, turn away. Yet, no one remains the same. Reflect on the times in your life when you experienced genuine kindness. Kindness offered freely, without expectation or ulterior motives. It might have been a small gesture, seemingly trivial, but did it not linger in your memory? Did it not prompt you, even if just for a fleeting moment, to reevaluate your actions, beliefs, and way of life? This illustrates why goodness, often regarded as a sign of weakness, is in fact one of the most potent forces in the world. It does not seek to dominate, yet it exerts influence. It does not engage in conflict, yet it brings about change. It does not impose demands, yet it inspires. Yet this power carries a heavy burden. Dostoevsky recognized that in a world driven by self-interest and the instinct for survival, Those who embody true goodness often endure great suffering. They are frequently misunderstood, exploited, and at times they may feel utterly alienated. However, he also grasped a deeper truth: the pain of the virtuous is not without purpose. It does not signify their failure. Rather, it stands as testament to their unwavering commitment to their principles in a world that relentlessly seeks to taint them. In the closing chapters of The Idiot, Mishkin's destiny is tragically sealed. He is shattered by the harshness and intricacies of the reality surrounding him. But does this imply he was genuinely a fool? Or was he, in the end, the only one who truly perceived the world as it is? Dostoevsky refrains from offering a straightforward answer because there is none. Instead, he presents us with a poignant question, one that each individual must confront. Is it wiser to navigate the world's treacherous waters, to shield ourselves, to engage in the game, or is it nobler to stay true to our ideals, even if it leads to suffering? This is a dilemma that every person must grapple with at some point in their lives, and the resolution is far from simple. It exists in shades of gray. Perhaps the true measure of a life well lived lies not in the wealth we accumulate, but in the flickers of light we manage to share with the world, no matter how faint or overlooked they may be. The ultimate truth is this: goodness is not defined by accolades or recognition. It is not about being celebrated or avoiding hardship. Genuine goodness exists not because it is esteemed by society, but because it reflects the essence of who we are meant to be. In the end, whether the world labels you a fool or a saint, whether you fade into obscurity or leave a mark, whether your acts of kindness are cherished or dismissed, what truly matters is that you stayed true to yourself. In a world often dominated by deceit and self-serving motives, choosing to embody goodness, despite the odds, is perhaps the most profound choice one can make.